Hello, and welcome back to the Tap That Magic podcast. I am so freaking excited today, per usual, but because I'm sitting here wearing sparkly cat ears, because I truly get to show up and teach people from the ooeyest, gooeyest part of my soul of like, I want to help you bring out the magic in yourself and start creating from a place where you feel so freaking self-expressed. You feel like you're solving problems for people. You have people coming into your community. You're building your brand from this energy that only can happen whenever you step up on your internet soapbox and you start to shine. And what we're going to be talking about today is actually imposter syndrome. And if you know me, if you've been in my world, you know that I've talked a lot about the fact that like imposter syndrome can only exist if you like give it the power to exist. But like it's a very real thing for a lot of people. And so I don't want to just ice over the cake. I want to really get into why this happens for you, like why you may be feeling this imposter syndrome, which by the way, is the thing that's going to stop you from posting those pieces of content, from getting on the live video, from launching the course. Like all that shit gets in the way of what you could actually be doing to live your happiest, your healthiest, and your wealthiest freaking life. And because I'm not here for the faceless brands. Like if you can't tell, me wearing these freaking cat ears is like a beacon to the magical weirdos, to the people that know they are supposed to get their voice out there, to the people that know that you feel it deep down in your belly that you are supposed to get on camera and shine. Like we're not here for the cookie cutter real people. Like, no, this is not just like some lather, rinse, repeat of like boringness. No, I want you to infuse your soul and your magic into your business. And like, this is the place to start. And especially here with this imposter syndrome that we're going to be talking about today. And if you truly know, by the way, I'm going to mention this twice today on this podcast. I don't give a shit because I know it's going to change your life. My confidence on camera course has been remastered. And that is honestly for two reasons, because I realized that confidence on camera is where it starts for everybody. Like for me, the heart and soul of my business started whenever I decided to get on camera and start speaking through the wobbly voice, through the sweating through my shirt, through the uncomfortableness, through feeling like phony baloney, and just showing up and teaching every single day changed the trajectory of my life, who I am, how I carry myself, how I show up to my marriage, how I show up to my life in general, and how I show up to my business. And I want that for you. I want it to feel easy for you. So that is one reason, because I know this is like a fundamental stepping stone, foundational piece to you showing up as confident as you possibly can on video and just in general as you show up on your internet soapbox. And B, because I wanted a low ticket offer for people to come into my world. And this is kind of like a behind the scenes business tip. Like I'm sharing the why behind why I did it, because I wanted there to be a low ticket offer for people to come into my world to get a taste outside of just my lives of how I actually teach and how the way that I say it can change your life. And so it worked for both ways, right? It's a foundational piece and it's a way for you to come into my world and learn something and take this information and fucking run with it. So I just did my first drop yesterday. I'm going to be sprinkling, it's 10 bite-sized masterclasses that are easy for you to just like go on a walk and listen to. You don't have to sit down with a freaking piece of paper and a pen. Like you can play it while you're driving in your car. You can play it while you're like going through the grocery store, like picking out fruit. I don't give a shit. Like listen to it whenever it feels good to you. And there's going to be pieces of like lightning bolt moments every time you go back. I don't know about you, but like something I've started doing this year is going back to courses I've already taken or like rewatching things and really letting it soak in so it can stir and purr in my system and I can get the most out of it. This is a course, $97, that you can come back to again and again and again and learn from. So the drops will be continuing throughout the month of June, and it's all about you kicking anxiety around getting on the camera to the curb and stepping up, building your brand, building your audience from your voice, and being a powerhouse leader on social media. I want that for you. You have that fire in your belly for a reason, okay? So I'm going to share the screen because I literally like, I knew I wanted to talk about this topic today. And it's been stirring and purring in my system for a hot minute now. And especially whenever it comes to like getting confident on camera. But when I tell you that like this just flowed out of my system, I can't even this is what happens whenever you live and breathe what it is you teach. When you live and breathe what your brand is, like the 3 to 5 things that you really stand for, it becomes impossible for imposter syndrome to exist in your world or knock you from your internet soapbox. Okay. And so I'm so excited. There's going to be so many freaking pieces of content that come from this. So you are getting you know how it feels whenever you are in the front row on a roller coaster. Like last summer, I got to go to, or 2 summers ago, I got to go to Orlando and I got to ride the Harry Potter ride, like the Hagrid ride. And it was like the very first row. I was the very first one. You know how exhilarating that feels? Like that's how this feels right now, knowing that I'm going to continue to teach this again and again and again. This is going to be something that my business is built on. And you're here, buckled up, ready to go in the front seat. Like there's so much juice, there's so much energy. And I just can't wait to share this. I'm like too hyper to click share screen right now. Like that's how genuinely excited I am. But okay, imposter syndrome, why it happens. Okay, so number one reason why you may be experiencing imposter syndrome right now is because you're genuinely teaching out of your area of genius. Now, this can come from multiple things. This can be because you are trying to teach something and sell something that you are still in the midst of. And I'm not saying you have to be perfect or you have to be a guru or you have to be a master at something to sell an online course about it. Like, absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is something that you don't feel like fully buckled into. You don't feel like you know, like the back of your hand. And honestly, it takes away from the power of your voice whenever you show up. And that's whenever we get like those voice wobbles. That's whenever we have those moments of like tripping over your words and doubting yourself. And that's not coming from a place of like developing your voice. That's coming from a place of like you're uncertain in what it is that you're talking about. He said, I was writing this morning too. Feel that vibe today. Posted some fun stuff. Yes, I love it. Okay. But yeah, you're teaching outside of your realm of genius. This is something that happens and can make you feel like you're in this box of like imposter syndrome. Or you're teaching something that you think you should be teaching. I know for me, there was a long time where I was like, okay, I've done business for a long time. I need to be teaching business. And so I would try to teach about strategy and this, that, the other, launching, all that. And it never truly felt like me, even though I know how to do it. And if anybody's a line 5 out there, you understand what it is that I'm saying. Just because you know how to do something and you know how to do something well does not mean that that's your area of genius. And so like, think about like, I truly think about this all the time. I'm like, I have a happier marriage than anyone I've ever seen in existence in my life. Like genuinely, him and I have been together for 11 years. He is my best fucking friend. And we laugh every day together. Like it's steamy, it's wonderful, it's fun, it's silly. And I could easily be a relationship coach. Like easily, mind you. But that is not my area of genius, at least not right now where I live and breathe and stand, that I truly want to teach about. So just because you're good at something, just because you're a marathon runner doesn't mean that you need to teach people through courses on like how to show up and run marathons. You know, that could just be something that exists in your life and it's for you. You know, maybe you incorporate it somewhere later or you add bits and pieces of that into your teaching. But whenever we are either trying to teach from a place of like you don't know the topic or you feel like you should, that's when the magic is gone. That's when the magic is gone. And the second part of why imposter syndrome truly happens is because this is the real. This is the real deal that I think a lot of fucking people need to hear is you're not being consistent in your creation enough to feel like the go-to expert. And that means you showing up on the internet and creating pieces of content every day. That is you showing up and getting on live video and sharing what it is that you solve the problem for people. That is you doing it day in and day out, sending out the emails, putting out the offers, that's whenever you start to feel like there's no room for imposter syndrome because you're doing the damn thing. And I'm gonna let you in on the secret. Most people in this world are not willing to do the damn thing to get it done, to be seen as the expert, the go-to. Even though you see plenty of people creating on TikTok, that is a very skinny little tiny percent of the population, my friend. So few people are willing to be ballsy enough to not just hide behind a faceless brand, but to show up and to speak, to use their own voice, to have faith and confidence in the way that they teach something and who they are. And whenever you can be that kind of person, imposter syndrome simply cannot exist. Okay. And so we're going to talk about 6 ways of truly overcoming imposter syndrome because I am a framework hoe for show. Like, I want to tell you the steps. I want to tell you the moves. I want to tell you the action pieces and the mindset flips that you can go incorporate starting today that can change your life forever. Okay. I'm ready for this to change for you. So the very first thing of overcoming imposter syndrome is you got to freaking celebrate your way. You got to celebrate your way, your methodology of how you help other people and how you helped yourself get the results. And now it could literally be something as like you're an intuitive eating coach, but you also incorporate like cycles of the moon, and you also incorporate like period health, and you also incorporate like, I don't know, like, do you see what I'm talking about though? Like, you have your own special steps, and it's probably the things that you've lived, breathed, and tried, you know? The way that I help people online is very different than another business coach or somebody that shows up and helps people create content. I help people through understanding their charts, like of their gene keys, of their human design, of their astrology, what those strengths are, to siphon that out and help them to show up and create better content, right? I help them to build their confidence. Like, it's all these different puzzle pieces that you do that is so different than anybody else. And if you're like, Stephanie, the way that I do it is the same as everybody. Well, this is your time to get that narrative out of your head and to fall in love with the way that you do it, to be so gosh freaking dang unapologetic about the way that you do it, even if it feels a little basic B. Even if it feels a little basic B, you're so unapologetic about the way that you do that, that there is magic and charisma that is pouring out of you. Sometimes I feel like I'm not a failed artist that's running for, oh, interesting. But celebrate your way of doing things. Celebrate your way. People aren't just buying the thing because it's a thing that you're teaching. They genuinely buy because of who you are and how you show up in your business. And there's something about you that activates them. So what is it that you want people to feel whenever they come to your page, whenever they come to your Instagram page, whenever they watch your TikTok videos? Like, truly, what are 3 to 5 things that you want them to feel, that you want them to get out of it, and really focus in on those and lather, rinse, repeat. Okay. Speaking of lather, rinse, repeat, to overcome imposter syndrome, you have to be willing to be, don't mind my squeaky chair, you have to be willing to be the kind of person that will chop wood and carry water every single day. Do you know, whenever you watch, like, I've literally never seen Rocky before, but like the idea of a freaking montage in a movie where you see over the period of a song, someone failing and trying and sucking at something and then getting a little better and then making some improvement and then getting a little better, blah, 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 blah. And we see it all happen in 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes. In their life, it took weeks, it took months, maybe it took years. So are you willing to be the kind of person to show up for your business and chop wood and carry water every single day? I am obsessed with the mentality of athletes, even though I am not a sports girl. Like, I used to do cheerleading. I was like, woo, go team, like it was more for the fun of it, honestly. But I absolutely adore listening to Instagram reels of athletes talking, like, especially like finding all these old ones of Kobe. Like, It's like Monday, get better, Tuesday, get better, Wednesday, get better, Thursday, get better every single day. And you don't just do that for 2 months. You don't just do that for 2 years. This is your freaking life. We are here for a blink. 6 months of you creating content is going to go by like a flash because you're going to be so fucking busy making shit that you're not even keeping track of the time. You're just solely focused in on getting better. You're solely focused in on stacking your skill sets every single day, sharpening those skill sets of what it is that you do every single day, whether it be making better TikTok videos, whether it be how you hold yourself whenever you get on camera, whether it be improving your written content, the hooks that you use to captivate people. It is literally chop wood, carry water, get better at it every single day. And whenever you have that kind of mentality, you make the reward, instead of like the reward being some monetary thing or being some certain amount of people that sign up for your courses, if you make the reward every single day, like this cha-ching sound in your body, because you posted on every platform, you got on the live video, you created the podcast, you made a sales page that makes it easy for people to buy into what it's what it is that you're selling. Though when you make those things the reward, every fucking day you feel like a winner. And that kind of attitude, there's no space for imposter syndrome because you're doing the damn thing. Okay. The third is to keep learning. I cannot put enough emphasis on this, to keep learning. I remember whenever I started teaching the gene keys, my voice was wobbly and shaky because I had never seen people teach it the way that I was teaching it, through the lens of being an entrepreneur, but also it's because I was still in the process of like really mastering it myself. But I knew I had this feeling inside of me that was like, okay, I need to start creating, because the more that I teach this, the better I will get at it. The more I will learn, the more that I teach. The more I teach this, like the more people have an opportunity to ask me questions that stimulate my brain, that allow for like the neuroplasticity in my brain to open up and for me to understand something better, to create new pathways, right? Of me explaining the same thing in a different way. And so it's up to you to keep learning. I would sit there for hours every day and I would study these gene keys. I would play around and do celebrity charts. I would reach out to big creators on Instagram and be like, hey, let's hop on a live. I'll do this for free for you. I want to see how your success stands up to your gene keys and how those things play together, how you brought your strengths into your business without even knowing it. And so it was over and over and over again of just learning. So whatever topic it is, like allow yourself to evolve in it, because the way that you teach something today is going to look so fucking different than the way that you teach it 6 months from now. It may have the same structural like bones, but it's going to evolve. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get bolder. Or maybe you're going to teach something a certain way for 2 years and then realize, actually, I found a better way. And now I'm really excited to teach that. And you get to teach that with such ease because you spent that time learning and teaching over and over and over again. So this life, there's not like any certain time that we just get to this point where we just stop, where we just stop growing, we just stop evolving. Like, bitch, this is why I cannot really batch content and I don't send it out for more than a day or two, because how rapidly I evolve as a human, how rapidly my mindset changes about things, and how much I grow in a short amount of time. If you're like that too, like I totally get you on a soul level, because if people always say, batch your content, batch your content. I can literally only do it 1 to 2 days in advance, because after that, I'm like, who is this bitch? Like, we've already changed so much. We've already grown so much. But we've talked about celebrating your way, chop wood, carry water, keep learning. 4 is how you see yourself. Truly, all of this starts with your confidence. This is the very first lesson that I just released on confidence on camera. So you're getting a bite-sized piece of it. It's your confidence. It comes back to how you view yourself, how you see yourself before you even get on camera, before you even press go live, before you even hit post. It's when you look in the mirror and how you interpret what you're seeing. Because guess what? To become a content creator, not a faceless brand, not a mofo who just makes cookie cutter reels, to be the kind of person that has a voice on social media and in this world and creates an impact through who you are, you have to stare at yourself in the freaking face every day. There was a long time where I was creating videos and I was getting on lives and all I could do was critique my face and be like, your eyebrows are different than each other. Well, you don't have a little tiny nose. Like all of these things. I could sit there and pick myself apart. That was 2 years ago. But guess what? I had to start the work in the mirror before I even pressed go live. And I had to literally brainwash and gaslight myself into believing that I was the most beautiful creature who has ever walked this planet. Because like, why? Why would we give that to somebody else when you can anoint yourself and say, no, I got to live and breathe in this like beautiful bag of bones. So I might as well think that I am the coolest. And it took a little bit of time and it took a little bit of effort. And there were plenty of times where I didn't believe the words that I was saying, but on the other side of being like, Stephanie, you are wonderful. You are the cutest. You are the funniest. You are the one that people need to learn from. That translates with the way that you show up on video. I promise you this. It's not an overnight mindset switch. This is a you every day being dedicated to loving the fuck out of yourself so that you can show up and be the best teacher that you possibly can be. Because nobody needs Stephanie that feels insecure. Nobody needs that. We all have our own insecure thoughts, anxieties that run through our head every day, but it's how you navigate those. It's if you let those things stick to you and let those thoughts define who you are. Because it's one thing if those thoughts come through and you get to make the active choice of saying like, my brain is like the freaking landing strip at an airport. I see this thought coming in. I can direct it away and say, fuck no. Like, you don't get to live here. You don't get to land here. There's literally no spot for you to come in. And the ones that you want, say, come on in. This is the kind of thought that I am welcoming. This is kind of the thought that I let live rent free in my head. So it's all about how you see yourself. The confidence carries over to how you create content. And whenever you're creating content from this version of you that literally believes that you have the grooviest juice in the galaxy and you are the coolest, then people feel that and they want to learn from you. Okay? Ta-da! Wait, how many do I have? Is this 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There is 7. You get a bonus tip, not just 6. There's 7. Okay, 7's with everything in my world, squirrel friend. Like it always ends up being freaking 7s, even when I don't plan it. Okay, working with others who see you. I'm going to keep this short, simple, sweet, to the point. This is where hiring somebody that helps you see what you could be doing better, but also helps you see your fullest potential is so freaking good for you. I've had coaches that have helped me see the greater version of myself that maybe wasn't crystal clear to me, but from their outside point of view, they helped me bring her into life. I've had other coaches that I've worked with that have been like, girl, you don't have enough depth. You can go deeper. You can go bigger. You can do more. Literally brought a piece of me out that I physically wasn't able to see because I was so in my own thing. And I don't like keeping this mentality because I really want to be able to look at myself from that outside point of view. That's something that I practice all the time, to look at myself from an outside point of view and like talk to myself like I would a client, right? Can you do that for yourself? Can you step outside of the box? Can you look at your Instagram, your TikTok, your videos from this outsider's point of view and be like, this is data. What can I improve? Right? But whenever we start working with people who have been where we want to go, or they have these qualities that we want to embody in our business as well, because there's plenty of people, like there's not anybody you should be putting on a pedestal and thinking like, I have to do it their exact way, because you're not that person. Like you get to take bits and pieces of things that you learn and like let it stir and purr in your system to make you, right? So there's something different that you're going to learn from a lot of different people that you're going to infuse into yourself. And sometimes we just need that outside perspective of somebody else saying, hey, you could do this better. Hey, I see you. I see this strength. Now bring more of it to the table. And that helps us stay at this higher level than just twirling our thumbs and waiting for this like divine inspiration to come through. No, you're working with somebody that can genuinely help bring out your sparkle. And so you can't live in imposter syndrome whenever you are in the vibe of somebody that like truly loves themselves and is confident in what they're creating. You want to be around other people that are creating like this, because I don't know about you, but whenever I go to my fun little side job, nobody is thinking in these terms of what I'm speaking right now. Like this is jarbled up confusion to them. They would have no fucking idea what I'm talking about, right? And so whenever you are in this world and you're working with somebody who gets it, that's when shit changes. That's when everything changes, because there's very few people out there, like I was saying earlier, who actually have what it takes to get up online and to teach. And so you need to surround yourself with that all the time. Okay. Next is creation over perfection. Creation over perfection. Time and time and time again. Because here's the thing. I was listening to this TikTok video the other day and it was like literally brilliant. She was saying, this girl saying, she's like, I started creating and it was more about the quantity. It was more about the pieces of content and how much I could get out there. And that's because whenever you have the quantity on your side, you're just getting better and better and better way faster than the mofo who creates 2 videos a week. When you're creating 3 pieces of content every single day for different platforms, you're going to get really fucking good really fucking fast. Way faster than any other Joe Schmo or Larry down the street is willing to put their time and energy into. Like for me, this might seem like outlandish to some people, but for me, it's not hard because I've like literally become obsessed with my work and my business. It's kind of like Gary Vee says, like, it's like my hobby of my life is to continue to get better and better and better at this because I feel it. I feel that pull. I feel like there's something so much bigger and it's up to me to be as visible as possible and to create as much as possible. And that's just what I got to do. So this girl was talking about quantity and then moving into quality. So the more and more and more you create, the more and more and more you learn, and then you start sharpening your edges. This is what I talk about all the time with like your messaging around this idea that it's like this big ice sculpture, right? Like a beautiful swan. But at first it's this big ass chunk of ice that you have to get the big pieces off, and then you can start doing the fine little details that make the beak, that make that long, beautiful neck, that make those pretty little feathers, right? I don't know if I've ever seen a swan ice sculpture in person, but that would be interesting. But mentally, picture it like that. Whenever you're creating videos, whenever you're going on lives, it's more about the quantity at first because you're going to get better faster, and then you move into the quality where it gets sharper, where it gets like your editing becomes a little bit richer. The way that you say your words is more to the point. And it's like the most beautiful experience you'll ever have in your life. I've literally been in the more, I started with a lot more quantity and now it's really like focusing in on the quality, and you'll see, like, you know, you're smart enough to know where you're at on the spectrum. If you are like, hey, I just need to be putting out content as much as freaking possible, or hey, I need to be sharpening my edges around this content, or hey, what I do needs to be potent. It needs to be fire. It needs to be mic drop every time, right? But creation over perfection. Creation will lead to the more perfect pieces of content that you will be so fucking obsessed with and that will like live in your library of what you created for the rest of your life. Okay. You'll be so freaking proud, or so freaking proud of yourself whenever you look back on those pieces of content, right? But you'll be so proud of yourself because you also created through the hump of sucking and the cringe. Hey, Brandy. Oh, thank you, Brandy. I was like, this is my beacon for the freaking magical weirdos. Like, I had to put on the cat ears today. Our life is a blank. Why not wear fucking cat ears, right? Like, that's mentally how I see it. So creation over perfection every single time. Last but never the least is focusing in to overcome this imposter syndrome, focusing in on value bombing the fuck out of people whenever they come to your page. We make it so much, and there's so much more that I teach about being authentic, about bringing yourself into your business. But what I'm talking about today, right here, right now, is you bringing the value and putting yourself to the side for a second and saying, I'm going to focus in on the problem that I'm solving. I'm going to focus in on my message above all else. I'm going to show up like, yes, I'm going to make myself feel good by being the cutest, by wearing the clothes that make me the happiest, by being in a place that I'm happy recording. Yes, all of those things are important, but putting yourself to the side. There was a long ass time when I started to go live that I literally had to pick Stephanie up and I had to set her to the side so that shit could come through and I could create the biggest impact with my message. Sometimes in our business, especially whether you're just starting or you're even like rebranding and pivoting, you literally got to put your ass to the side so that this new thing can come through because it's a message. Like you are like this little trumpet for the universe that you get to be played. And the more that you do that, then you can start infusing your personality into it more and more. But you have to make the message and giving people value and solving people's problems greater than, oh my God, am I good enough? Oh my God, am I cute enough? Oh my God, am I aesthetic enough? Like, girl, you've got problems to solve for people. Like, that's why you're creating content on the internet to educate and entertain. So show up and educate and entertain. All right. And so whenever we get into these 7 things and we really sink our teeth into this idea of like not letting imposter syndrome define who we are and just create, just show up, just make, there's no room. There's no more room for imposter syndrome when you just keep creating over and over again because your mind is so fucking busy with ideas that are going to come through and help your community and build your brand that you have no space to doubt yourself anymore. There's literally no space to doubt yourself whenever you just keep showing up, chopping wood, carrying water. There's no space. Whenever the reward every day is you showing up and putting out that piece of content, putting out those multiple pieces of content, getting on the live video, sending the email, when that's your reward, you're a fucking winner every single day. And when you have that mentality, you can build something long lasting that doesn't rely on outside validation. That doesn't rely on like, what's everybody going to think of me? Like, what if people don't like this? No, you're teaching what's on your soul, what's on your heart. And when you show up with that energy, people can feel it and are freaking magnetized to you. So I teach this because I lived it and breathed it. Because this is something that was at the heartbeat of my business, was strengthening my voice and getting my ass on camera. And I would have people all the time, the first 2 years of my business, be like, why are you on live video all the time? Like, this is excessive. Like, why are you doing this every single day? Like, every time I get on TikTok, I see you're on live video. And for me, I was like, there's no other choice. Why are more people not in here bringing the fire? Girl, I'm such a big believer. I'm like, this is why I like record this and I put this on my YouTube and I put this on my podcast because this is the kind of message that lives on forever. Like I feel it in my bones and every single inch of my body. But I knew that my voice had to be the most important thing. I knew that showing up on camera had to be the most important thing. Even when people were like, you're crazy, you're going overboard with it. Why are you doing this? Hey, Nicole. And honestly, she always brings the fire. Thank you. Oh my God, I love you. But truly, I knew I had to get on if I wanted to get better for myself, which would help more people in the long run. I had to show up, even when it was uncomfortable, even when I was tired, even whenever I would be going through like these new evolutions of myself, right? Like how many of us have had these cocoon moments where we're like, oh, I'm coming out of this way of doing something and I'm stepping into a new way. And it was just showing up and creating through it, just showing up and speaking through it. Because my God, whenever you trust yourself to do that and to use your voice, you become unshakable. Okay. And people want to learn from unshakable leaders, right? And so this is why I developed confidence on camera. This is why it's literally, other than my Gene Key course, become my flagship course of like, hey, whenever you come into my world, you learn how to become the most confident version of yourself on camera. And I want that for you. And I want you to do it faster than it took me. I want you to be able to soak up these 10 mini master classes and just grab this information and fucking run with it in your business. Run with it in your content creation. Run with it in your TikToks, in your live video. It's going to help you not only take the actions that are going to get you in this place where you're building your brand, you're building your audience, you're having clients find you on social media, but also you feel like the grooviest, juiciest, weirdest, wonderful, most self-expressed version of yourself. And my God, you become a freaking lighthouse. You become a lighthouse to the right people. The happier you are, the more confident you are in what it is that you're saying. And I want you to be able to lather, rinse, repeat this and to learn from these master classes and to go back to them again and again and again so that you can keep getting up on your internet soapbox and absolutely shining with your message and through who you are. So confidence on camera. The drops have started this week. They're going to continue throughout June, even maybe the beginning of July. 10 mini masterclasses, bite-sized pieces. This is a way to get in my world. Easy peasy. Yes, $97. I love, love, love you. But stop twirling your thumbs and waiting for opportunity to come knocking at your door, and get out there, get confident on camera, and start fucking creating, because this is the rest of your life. This defines your happiness, your healthiness, your wealthiness, all of the things that you really want to experience while you're here, while you're human. It starts with your voice and showing up as the boldest version of you in your message. Okay. So I love, love, love you. I cannot freaking wait for you to jump into confidence on camera, because I'm so proud of it. And I know that you're going to be so proud of yourself with how you start showing up online. And once those people start sprinkling into your world because they are fully attracted to who you are, your voice, and the way that you teach, you're going to be like, holy shit, Stephanie, like, why was I not doing this sooner? Why did I wait? But girl, perfect timing for everything. And you're here listening to this, whether it's right now, whether it's 5 years from now, for a freaking reason. I believe it with every single fiber of my being. And I want you to take everything we talked about today and run with it in your business. Love you so, so freaking much. I'm going to stop the share and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.